So this is part two of what happens when you stop talking in a relationship. There's so much I wanted to say and I forgot to say. So I had to create a second video so I could say, okay? So in part one, you learned that, the reason why people stop talking is because, they're angry at each other, they're frustrated with each other, they don't have patience for each other, and it's called stonewalling. And stonewalling is something that most people tend to do in a relationship. Children do it when they're young, teenagers do it, but in a relationship between two people who are supposed to be growing together, it's not a good thing because it actually creates a wall. We talk about building walls in relationship. This is a wall that you're building and preventing the relationship from growing or proliferating. So part two, I'm going to tell you what you can do. And first of all, before I tell you what you can do to help bridge that gap where you're not talking to each other, let me say this because I didn't say in part one, is that when you stop talking to each other, you invite outside influences or factors. You can invite other people's opinions, other people's attitudes, other people's what do you call it, indications or opinions about what your relationship is and how it's supposed to be. You can also invite third parties into your relationship, like, cheating can occur when you stop talking. Somebody else is talking to that person. Somebody else is listening to that person. When you're not talking to your partner or listening to them, understand this, that somebody else is listening and talking to them. And that's not what you want. You want to be the person that they're talking to, or the person that they realize that will listen to them. Okay. So one of the things, the first thing you can do when you are not talking to each other, when my daughter was young, I would talk to her through a puppet, I would talk to her through Fruit Loop and she would listen and respond to Fruit Loop and not to me. And I was like, this is interesting, because it was like putting something in the middle between me and her that she could relate to. And it wasn't, and she didn't realize it was me. She was too young to realize, hey, the voice of the puppet is me, or maybe she realized it, but she was enthralled with talking to the puppet. So putting something in between you and your partner, creating something that is healthy, something that can bridge that gap is important. One of the things that you can do is write a letter. I know a lot of people, they're not big on writing, but you have text. I don't suggest you text, but you have texting, you have, iPad, you have other technology that you can write on, and you can translate that or transfer your thoughts onto so that you can share with your partner. Me personally, I like handwritten notes or letters. If you write me a letter, chances are I'm going to read it. So you need to know who your partner is in order to recognize if your partner is open to you writing them a letter. And make sure that when you write the letter, you cover all the points in the letter that you may not have been able to cover before you stop talking. Whether remembering the source of the argument or whatever, or it could be simple and just saying, you know what, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I did, or I'm sorry that that happened. Let's talk. Let's find a time to talk. That's the second point. The second point is always finding an opportunity to discuss what happened. If you can talk about it, if you can listen to the other person's viewpoints and the other person's opinions, then it makes it easier to start addressing the breakdown that happened in the communication. The other thing is make a commitment to the process of healing, the process of, healing through the time that you agree to talk on the subject. If you set a time to talk, be open. Don't come to the table shut down and angry with all the emotions that got you here in the first place where you weren't talking. Come to the table understanding that you're willing to hear and willing to and listen despite what the other person says. I know that when I do counseling, a lot of times when one partner says something the other person doesn't agree with, is like, ah, and I'm like, no, you have to listen to what they're saying. Even if you don't agree with it, you have to be able to hear that person out. And then you can rebut, or you can say, well, I don't agree with this, or this is how I see it. And you guys can go from there. But setting the time to discuss the issue is very important. The other thing is, if one person walks away, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Don't see it as disrespect. Don't get uh angry because the other person can't control their emotions. say, you know what, I understand that maybe this is not a good time. Do you want to reconvene? Let me know when it would be a good time. And I know this is like, some people, it might seem like patronizing an adult, but it's not really. You are actually trying to engage with your partner. You're actually trying to understand where they're coming from and understand how you can bridge the gap so that you both can be on the same page. So, committing to that process, committing to listening despite the fact that you may not want to, or you may not agree with what's being said, is very important. The other thing I said here is find out what in each of you is contributing to the problem. How many times people say to me, I'm not the problem, he's the problem, or she's the problem, or he can fix it, or she can fix it. If that were the case, why did you get married? Why did you get married not understanding that marriage is a partnership above everything else? People say I'm married all the time, or this is my husband, or this is my wife. What you need to translate, instead of saying husband or wife, you need to put instead the word partner. This is your partner, your life's partner, the person you chose to be with. Whether you're married or you're a couple and you're planning on getting married, or you're working towards marriage, this person that you're with is someone that you have partnered with for a lifetime. Hopefully, if you can talk. So the key is to being able to talk first, right? So I hope these four things that I gave you, the ability, to write a letter, set up a time to talk, commit to the process while you're talking, and recognizing what both of you have contributed to the problem, and being honest with that, and being transparent in that moment, and saying, you know what, this is what I did, and I'm not blaming you for what you did, but I have to take accountability. Accountability is the word I'm looking for here. Taking accountability for your actions in the breakdown of communication, and allow the other person to address that, and you in turn address theirs, is valuable in fixing the lines of communication. It all starts with a conversation. Isn't that how you got together in the first place? Didn't you have a conversation with that person? Did you tell that person about yourself? Didn't you tell them about how you wanted to be with them? Well, at what point did you think that a conversation ending would continue to facilitate the growth in your relationship? Just a question for thought. My name is Ingrid Felton. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for telling others about what I do here. I thank you for your subscriptions. Continue to support me. And I hope, as always, that you found some gold nugget in the things that I said here today. Work on you first, and everything else flows. Bye.